ShadyPenguinn was a dominant force last season, but has gotten off to a rough start at 1-2. He looks to bounce back against the Frostcaster Espira, as the Imperawatts look to climb back in the Elestriad for week 4. Make sure you check out Elestriad.com for all the standings and more. Espira kicks off this week with 12 packs and hits a Locagon for his team, and then a few Arcturus to enhance his Frost strategies. Shady, on the other hand, lands an Aeromare and Pandora's Box, a few solid options for deck building, but aside from a Sonicore, nothing that are going to change his plans for the week. Espira makes a trade for week 4 and picks up a few Abominable Form Morphrost and a Shiveror from Caleb. This will enable the optimal Morphrost strategy. With these new cards in his arsenal, let's hear what deck he's bringing to take on ShadyPenguinn.
So this week we're running back with more of the same. We did get Morphrost in from trades. However, if Shady ends up being on the Trifernal plan, then the entirety of the Frost engine is like dead if I don't very specifically have Mountain of Boreas on the board. So instead I figured we're going to lean on Shiveror because it's much easier to lend ourselves into a strategy where we're just going into a body that our opponent can't respond to and hope that we get there with our removal. And then the big swap in is here. I've lowered the amount of guys we're running, which could punish us. However, we're upping on the amount of Nectar of Gods, which allows me to more efficiently go into the Cryovrn, getting my spirits into my draw quicker, and then hoping that Cryovrn beatdowns are able to get us there. I haven't cast a Shiveror yet, but hopefully at some point soon we'll be able to get there. But I'm hoping that this is enough pressure to really put Shady on the backbone, and hopefully I don't put myself in a position to get burned out by some kind of Eruption stuff.
It looks like Espira is running a hybrid of Shiveror and Cryovrn to output a tremendous amount of power. I do think this is a wise decision going against Fire because of how much Shady has seemed to like Eruption in his time playing Elestrals. Shady, tell me what you and the Imperawatts cooked up this week.
So this week I am going up against Frost, and my hope is one that I can draw a Lavalith and put some pressure on the board, some real pressure, as my opponent probably goes to a super strong Elestrals. Remember, running Triple Earthquake. Basically, I want to put in as much pressure as possible and go 1-for-1 with his back row or with Elestrals as much as I can, and then finish the game with double Eruption. That's my hope, is that I can get him down to 5 spirits in deck and double Eruption for game. That would be fantastic, especially because Frost has a tendency to put a lot of spirits in the grave anyway to get their cryo engine going. That is my game plan. I would love to be 2-2 instead of 1-3 after this match, but we're going to see how it goes.
It looks like Shady is indeed bringing the Eruption strategy alongside an offensive Fire deck. I love the inclusion of Warmite to help hit over some of the stronger attackers like Cryovrn. Keep an eye on that Volcaries as well, because when paired with Volcanic Forge, it can get pretty strong really fast. Alright, this is a huge clash for both of these casters. Shady said it there best that he does not want to be 1-3 after this. Espira starting off, but having to do a double mulligan here. Having to pay 4 spirits to see 2 new hands. Will he settle on his 3rd hand of this clash? Not how you want to start this one off, especially going up against a Fire Eruption deck. It seems as though Espira is happy enough to push forward here, and he's going to start with a Narpoon to search out one of his Frost Elestrals. One of the challenges with Frost is that it has an incredible consistency engine, but if you don't see the pieces you need initially, it can be a little tough to make it work. The Narpoon will search out that Cryoling, and honestly, I don't think Espira is feeling all that bad when all's said and done. 2 face-down runes, and all he did was buff his Cryoling up further by getting those Frost Spirits in the Underworld, something that he was inevitably going to work towards anyway. Shady going to start it off with a Stellar Astrabit, looking clean, gets to look at the top 3 cards of his deck and add one of those to his hand. He seems pretty content with what he found. He'll set at least 1 back row, and he's passing over to Espira, looking to put some offensive pressure on, potentially with that Cryoling. Here comes the Frost Spirit onto the field. What is his play going to be? It's Kione. Kione enables the Nexus strategy with Frigica, potentially Shiveror, as well as providing Underworld support when he gets access to his Enfrostics later on. Has no Elestrals in Underworld, so unable to use Kione's effect right now, but can load it up with 3 spirits and set it up for future plays. And again, most importantly, the ability to Nexus right now. He is going to disenchant to search his Underworld, but he has nothing to grab there. So I think his play was just get rid of a spirit to force the envelope with the Cryoling. This is a really smart play. By doing so, Cryoling now immediately ascends into Cryovrn, and I don't think Shady was expecting this much offensive output. I actually really like that play by Espira, and he's going to do it in a misenchanted way by having a Water Spirit on his Cryovrn, ensuring that, well, yeah, it's misenchanted, it doesn't have an effect, but it's not going to worry about Tsunami here. Cryovern 7 attack, side by side with the 4 attack Water Enchanted Harpoon. This Astravid is looking scared right now, and Espira has the freedom to disenchant his Kione next turn to grab Cryoling back and try this again if it doesn't work out. Cryovern ready to go and will fire off an attack towards Shady's Rabbit. Does he have an answer? This is big. No, he does not. His Rabbit goes down. He'll take 1 Spirit of damage from the Harpoon and be forced to draw and start his turn anew. Not a bad place to be. 2 Fire Spirits coming down. It's the Lavalith. Huge play from Shady. Lavalith taking advantage of the field presence Espira has, and now Shady has this choice to make. Do you get rid of the Kione that's carrying 2 spirits, or do you take out one of the face down runes in hopes that you get rid of something like a Shield of Achilles? He's debating his choices here. Espira debating his choices, opts to not respond. The Kione goes. I love that play. Followed up with an Earthquake here, shattering the stadium. The field gets destroyed. Cryovern is gone. Lavalith is looking incredibly strong right now, and Shady makes a massive play to turn this clash around. Lavalith attacks into a Shield of Achilles, but honestly, if you're Shady, you don't really care that much about this. You're going to lose your Lavalith here, but you get to cast it out on the next turn anyway. This is a really good position to be in if you're ShadyPenguinn, because you know you can just bounce it back with Lavalith on the next turn, and George is down to just 7 spirits left. This is a really tough spot to be in if you're Espira. He's going to grab a spirit from his spirit deck, debating on what his play is going to be. He's going to need an Ambrosia to come back, and he has it. Huge. Shady looks absolutely distraught from that play, not happy to see the Ambrosia, understanding that he was so close to being able to execute his late game strategy of burning with Eruption and pressuring with Lavalith. And now if you're a Espira, you have a tough choice to make. Do you even want to cast something right now? Because you're going to open the door for Lavalith. He's got 2 Frost Spirits on the field, and Frostix is going to be played. That's going to enable his Cryoling to come back. A huge play from Espira, debating his choices here. Cryoling makes so much sense though, right? Because you get it out, you get to turbo into Cryovern, and you could put a ton of pressure on Shady right away, but again, you're doing so at the risk of utilizing a ton of spirits to get this board state. Cryoling in main phase is going to be forced to ascend into Cryovern. I'm assuming he's got 6 Frost Spirits there, so without any sort of response, Shady's going to let it all happen. Here comes Cryovern. Will he misenchant it? No, this one is properly enchanted this time. But again, note that Espira has gone big or going home. He's got only 5 spirits left even after that Ambrosia. And then he's going to cast another Elestral. Catarant! The comeback could be so real. Catarant, the receive Elestral that allows him to heal 2 spirits every time it receives a Frost Spirit, which means that Espira is going to go up to 6 spirits now and hang in this clash a little bit longer. But most importantly, has 4 spirits of damage on board that can knock Shady down to just 10 spirits, and that could be pretty rough for him. So Shady is going to have to take this attack, and the threat of both Cryovern and Catarant is looming. Shady's going to draw for turn with 10 spirits to go. He's got that Lavalith. We know he can fire down. He's going to just follow it right back up. That face down rune is gone. Does George have any response here? Is it a Gorgon's Gaze? Is it going to be a Tsunami? It looks like it's a Tsunami. Huge plays here. That Lavalith going to be forced into defense position. Those 2 face down runes proven to be incredibly impactful for Espira, being able to utilize the Tsunami to change the position. But here comes the Eruption. Wait a minute. Double Eruption from ShadyPenguinn to seal the deal. He baits the Tsunami. He drops the double Eruption, and he takes the W and moves to 2-2 in the Elestriad. And Espira, his spirits are broken as he set up perfectly to get his Cryovern out twice, but didn't have the chance to utilize his Frigicub Nexus, and Shady was able to take advantage of it behind the power of Lavalith, Earthquake, Lavalith again, and then double Eruption. Brilliant plays by Shady. Congrats on the win. Stay tuned for tomorrow's clash. It's going to be epic.